Alright, I have done the bulk of Route 3 in the last part, so only a few more trainers and we can head to Mount Moon. Now, several of you have noticed that Weedle's Poison Sting did not very effective damage to my Bulbasaur and then Ivysaur, but in theory it should be neutral. Well, there are a lot of explanations, a lot of different explanations that I've seen, and I am not sure which one is accurate, but there is a theory according to which the not very effective takes precedence when there is one type that's super effective and another that's not very effective. Not very effective would take priority, but then again, Gyarados is supposedly weak to ice. I don't really remember, so that causes another theory to pop up according to which it's type 2 that takes precedence, such as Bulbasaur's poison type or Gyarados' flying type. Yet another idea that I've seen is that the display of the message is only a glitch and it really does deal neutral damage. Now, I'm not sure whether it's true or not, which theory is true or not, so maybe I should do a little more research on that. Okay, so he says, trained Pokemon are stronger than the wild ones. This is Game Freak's subtle way of introducing you to EVs. Wait, did she say, did you touch me? And I was like, 5 feet away? Yeah, those game designers really weren't thinking straight when they came up with that. Oh, a Jigglypuff, and a level 14 one on top of that. So I'm gonna open with Leech Seed because there's always the threat of Sing, and I really want to deal some damage and heal myself if it ever uses it on me, because that could mean trouble, especially since Jigglypuff's pretty good defensively. And as you notice, I'm recovering quite a bit of HP despite Leech Seed being weaker in this generation. So yeah, that's another reason why I use Leech Seed, because it's really helpful when you're facing a foe with a lot of HP. And furthermore, Sleep is even more evil in this generation than it was in the other ones, because when you wake up, you don't attack right away, you have to wait one more turn. So this allows the opponent to put you back to sleep without you even getting to do a move, which is why Hypnosis and Sing had really crappy accuracy back then, and still do with a brief reprieve in Diamond and Pearl for Hypnosis. But otherwise, if you want a reliable sleep move, then you have no choice but to use Spore, and the only user of Spore back then was Parasect, which was awful! Really, really awful! So the other choice was Sleep Powder, which Butterfree and Oddish get early, but as I said, so does Bulbasaur in other games, but here it only gets it at level 55. So anyway, as I was saying before I got interrupted by that "did you touch me, girl?" was that the EV system was really not well understood in the first few years of Pokemon. The general idea that was floating around, for those of you that remember and for those of you who don't also, is that no matter what happens, if you catch, say, a Pidgey at level 2 and a Pidgey at level 30, even at level 100, the Pidgey level 2 will have better stats when it reaches level 100, that is. So people were going out of their way to catch their Pokemon as low leveled as possible. Okay, so we're setting the stage for our first meeting with Team Rocket soon. Oh, this guy is the one we've heard about in Part 6. It's the guy that sells you a Magikarp for 500 bucks or yen or whatever. Anyway, there are actually people who bought it because they wanted to have a Gyarados before getting to Vermilion City, where you get the old rod, and it may not be a bad idea because Gyarados wasn't the best water type, but it was still pretty useful thanks to its high stats all around. Yeah, it had pretty solid special attack back then. I think it was base 100, if I remember correctly. I'm not too sure. So now we're entering Mount Moon and fighting a trainer right off the bat. And if I remember correctly, that one wasn't too easy. What did she have already? Oh! Yeah, level 14 Clefairy, also with Sing, so once again I'm going to open with Leech Seed. Hoping I don't fall asleep. Well, Growl, no matter, I'm just gonna use Vine Whip now that I have it. Speaking of high-level Pokemon in Mount Moon, if I remember, there's a Rocket Grunt with a level 16 Raticate. No, not Rattata, Raticate, and level 16 at that. And it has Hyper Fang. Oh, well, Sing just missed. That's good. Anyway, in Yellow, Fire Red, and Leaf Green, it was downgraded, to a level 13 Rattata without Hyper Fang. So I'm wondering what to do on that one, because a level 16 Raticate with Hyper Fang at that stage of the game is going to be pretty hard to deal with. And by what to do, I mean, do I open with Leech Seed, risking taking some heavy damage on the first turn without dealing too much in return, and hoping the damage done and the healing provided will compensate later on in the battle, or do I go on the offense with Vine Whip straight away? So I'm asking you, what do you think I should do? Because it's been a while since I've played this game, so I don't really remember what I did in my previous playthroughs. I mean, if I were playing another generation, it would be a no-brainer. Start with Leech Seed, since it's twice more powerful than in Red, Blue, and Yellow. But here, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm asking you what you think I should do. Leave a comment on YouTube or Libelldra or whatever, and I'll take that into account when the time comes to beat that guy. Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted again, was that the way the EV system works in the first two generations is that every Pokemon you beat gives you EVs in every stat, and the EVs given are proportional to the base stats of the Pokemon defeated. Oh, behold, the all-powerful Water Gun TM! Seriously, I might sell it, and the buck obtained that way would be more useful than the goddamn TM. So back to the topic at hand, that means if I defeat a Chansey, I am going to get a lot of HP EVs, and a lot of special too, and practically nothing in attack and defense. Now the EVs range between 0 and 65,535. And of course you needed a lot more points in order to see a change in stats. That goes without saying. Another thing was that you could max out your EVs in every single stat. And a consequence of that competitively was that every Alakazam you'd see, for instance, would have the exact same stats every time. Max out every stat in EVs, no natures, and that's the result you get. No variety, only the moves differ somewhat. And not too much at that, because move pools were far smaller and far less varied back then. Move slot syndrome didn't exist back then, except for stuff like Starmie, which is pretty much recognized as the original move slot syndrome guy. Oh, another level up, that's good. Only 2 more and I can get Poison Powder, which isn't all that hot, but at least it's better than freaking Growl. I mean, did you see me use Growl, aside from the second fight against Blue, and I was spamming it with Spearow, a Pokemon that could not hold its own? I thought so. And those Rocket Grunts in this game, they really don't look like gangsters at all. They look like, back when they were children, they couldn't decide whether they wanted to be lion tamers or train conductors, so they decided to pick up both gigs. See what I mean? They look ridiculous. Yeah, I blew it. Blah, blah, blasting off again, yeah. So I'm gonna pick up that item and then cut this for now. So think about what I asked of you. Should I go more defensive or all-out offensive against that level 16 Raticate? So I'm waiting for your answers, and see you next time.